Magic.
Welcome to Food Magic. Every week we go in search of food to satiate our hunger and to supply our body with nutrition. It's something that we do on a daily basis, yet sometimes take for granted. For example, do you know where your food comes from or what properties it contains? In today's episode, we take a look at the history, the science, and some tasty uses of some commonly found ingredients. Now, this one is sprinkled on baked dishes, pastas, pizzas, and used in just about any way that you can imagine possible. It's even been frothed up and poured onto tea. In today's episode of Food Magic, in 3, 2, 1.
Some speculate that this was how the first ancient cheeses were accidentally created. Milk was curdled from the enzyme present in the stomach lining known as rennet. Some say cheese was discovered after milk was salted or came into contact with an acidic fruit juice, which we now know today can also cause curdling to occur. Curdling is the first step to cheese making.
The origins of cheese is still up in the air. There isn't any conclusive evidence indicating where cheese making first started. However, a rough estimate is that it began a few thousand years ago before recorded history, when humans first started domesticating animals such as sheep. Back then, we didn't have plastic flasks or containers to store our food and drink. And we also didn't have agricultural techniques that we employ today. And so oftentimes food was far more precious and scarce. Food storage was a matter of life or death. And so food wastage was an absolutely absurd thought. And hence, animal skin and inflated internal organs were actually used as natural storage vessels for food during this time. As someone who loves cheese, I'd love to say that there's no such thing as too much of it, but it can be a bit cloying. However, I'm going to show you how to make a standard grilled cheese sandwich and really turn it up a notch. Now, this is going to incorporate some sauteed onions and some fragrant, crisp curry leaves. Now, these are all the things that you're going to need. Say hello to your ingredients. We've got some mayonnaise, we've got onions, a little bit of chopped diced garlic, we've got our Gouda cheese, curry leaves, and some really nice bread. And of course, our star today is the Gouda, because this is our Gouda curry melt. But I'm going to start first with these ingredients: our garlic and onions, and of course, our curry leaves. We're just going to saute. Let's get to it. So once your onions have caramelized, we're going to throw in our curry leaves. So we're going to use all of this. Just give it a nice mix. And you just want to coat the curry leaves in the oil and just let the flavors infuse together. So on top of that, never forget your seasoning, because that is really, that can make or break any dish. So salt and pepper, and we are just about done. I wish you could smell this. There's only one way to find out what I'm talking about, and that is to try this at home on your own. So now that we've got the onions and the curry leaves done, I'm going to turn on the fire again and just warm it up a little bit. I'm going to add a tiny, tiny bit of olive oil. This is going to make life a lot easier when it comes to flipping your sandwich around. So now, very quickly, we're just going to take a slice of bread and add on a dollop of mayonnaise. And then we're going to pop this in the pan, and we're going to do it face down, so it's going to sort of crisp, and the bread's gonna pick up that nice little sweetness of the mayonnaise. Now this, like I said, is Gouda cheese. It's from the Netherlands. It's a very mild yellow cheese. However, it does melt really, really well. So I'm going to add 2 slices, only because we want it to really ooze and melt over the sides. So add that on top. So we're gonna add this on top, just like that. Super, super easy. And the final step is just to add a little bit more mayonnaise to your second slice. And we've gone ahead and used a slightly more textured bread with grains. So remember to monitor it because you don't want it to burn entirely on one side. You just want it to go nice, brown, and crisp. So give it a couple of minutes, let the cheese start to melt and ooze out, and you're pretty much ready. All right. And that looks beautiful. Now it's time to slice this in half. So now, oh, look at that. That is what I am talking about. That this is gonna make for the perfect everyday bite. Doesn't that look simply stunning? If you ask me, I could eat this every day, and you will after you take a bite. But do remember and caution that cheese is high in saturated fats, so everything in moderation, even cheese. That being said, I will see you after the break. Bon appetit. We're back with more cheese on Food Magic, and I do mean more cheese. I'm not even joking. Did you know that there are between 500 to 1,000 varieties of cheeses? This disparity is due to classification, because how do you group cheese? Well, criteria such as aging, method of production, milk type, fat content, moisture content are sometimes used on their own or in combination to classify cheeses. However, there is still no universal classification, and that's because it's so complex.
Nutrition-wise, it varies far and wide across the number of cheeses available, but generally, it's a rich source of calcium, protein, phosphorus, sodium, zinc, and vitamins A and B12. Cheese is essentially concentrated milk. In comparison to 28 grams of cheddar cheese, you would need 200 grams of milk to get the same amount of protein, and 150 grams of milk to get the same amount of calcium as a little bit of cheddar.
Although there is no universal classification for cheeses, they can be categorized into a few different categories. So first of all, you have fresh cheese. You've also got cheese by moisture content, which include soft cheese, semi-soft cheese, medium hard, and hard cheese. There's also cheese by milk type or fat content. And then there's the soft ripened or blue veined cheese, where mold plays a very important role. Yes. And also, finally, there is processed cheese, which includes additives, emulsifiers, and preservatives.
We met with Anissa Iwan, a cheese hand or cheese maker based in Kuala Lumpur. Anissa is a self-taught cheese hand and is extremely passionate about her craft, going as far as to create her own dedicated cheese cave at home to age her cheeses.
You know, a long time ago, people in colder climate find the process of cheese making to kind of preserve the milk from the summer into the winter season. So without the liquid, because milk itself, it's not really liquid, you know, it is an emulsion, it is a colloid. So on it there's like fat and protein and all the other mineral, and then water. So if you eliminate the water, which is what makes milk go rancid basically, you know, the whey, then you have the solid mass which can last for years. Okay, so then long time ago the people, they don't put any preservative or anything, they just use salt to preserve it, and you know, then you have that milk product throughout your winter time. But now of course you know, the dairy products can last longer because of technology and whatever ingredients that we put in it. But I think the main function of cheese is still the same, to preserve the milk and turn it into something even better.
Tucked in a quiet corner of Kuala Lumpur lies Cocotte, a casual French restaurant. Their specials are cheese fondue and raclette, a Swiss dish that uses melted cheese straight from a wheel of raclette cheese. Raclette cheese is made from alpine cow milk and is classified as a semi-hard cheese.
So now I'm melting the cheese. So here you have about 2 half wheel, so which is 1 wheel, like I said before, of 6 kg. So the purpose is to melt the cheese. If you want to have a nice and crusty layer on top, you can leave it a bit longer. So now I'm gonna scrape it off on the baked potato. There we go. I'm gonna just add some pickled gherkins and pickled onions. And some black pepper on top. So now it's ready to eat.
Stay tuned for more after the break.
Welcome back. Well, as many people have recently discovered, cheese actually works really well with dessert. If you think about it, cheese platters, well, they usually serve it with some sweet fruit on the side, whether it's grapes, figs, or berries. So much like milk is a staple of desserts, why not cheese? Sweet, fruity notes actually help to complement that salty, tangy, and let's just face it, for lack of a better word, stinky smell of cheese. Now, I'm going to show you today how to make an embarrassingly easy recipe. This is what we call the berry cheesecake pot. To make this, all you need is condensed milk, butter, cream cheese, cherries, strawberries, and of course we've got some digestive biscuits that have already been crushed up, and some lemon juice. That's it. All right, so let's get started. So, just a little bit of melted butter. So remember, all you want to do is just melt the butter, and then we're going to chuck in our crushed digestive biscuits. This will sort of help your base stick together and it's not just, you know, dry and crumbly. So now that that's done, just scoop it up and put it in. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to whip up our mixture. So the first step is actually to add the condensed milk. So we're going to add half of this in. And then we're going to add the juice of 2 lemons. This is going to help to set your mixture. So just add that in. And then just give it a little mix. So now we're going to add in our star, cream cheese, which is a fresh cheese, and it's made from cream and milk. And if you've ever had it before, you know just how divine it really is. So, gently whisk it all together. And before you get too carried away, don't forget to also add in a little bit of zest from your lemon. And that just makes it really nice and fragrant as well. So we're just going to whisk it until it reaches a nice, slightly thicker consistency. So our next step is to just put it into our little glass pot. So spoon it out. Smooth and creamy. So now comes the fun part. This is where you feel very productive by simply doing really nothing at all. And because it's homemade, don't worry if it's not pretty. Ah, that's just so satisfying. So we're going to do the same over here. Ah, look at that. And now for the final touch, just to balance it all out and feel a little bit less guilty, we're going to add some fruit to the mix. And then we're going to put them into our little pot. And there you go. So now all that's left is we're going to refrigerate this for about 3 hours. I mean, you could be really impatient and eat it straight away, but it's well worth the wait when it's nice, cool, chilled, and set. And come back to it in 3 hours. So let's go watch some television. Ta-da! 3 hours later, you have all the taste of a cheesecake with none of the effort. Go give it a try. plenty more to cheese than just Parmesan and mozzarella. Go to the cheesemonger or the cheese section at your local grocery store and try something new. If you think you're a cheese fiend, I hate to break your heart, because France, Finland, Iceland, Germany, and Denmark consumed the most cheese in 2014, with an average of 25 kilos per person. That is insane. Well, that's all the cheese we have for you today on Food Magic. I'm Nadia Heng. Until the next time.
For recipe details, check out our Instagram.